I think that it would be a mistake just to focus on that. I saw this thing. It was posted on a platform on which I am. I saw the speech. I saw the statement. It was longish. I did not go into it immediately, thinking that it was just one of these ramblings in that really failed to say any much. But it appears that I was profoundly mistaken. And I have to acknowledge an act of bravery by Mr. Jonah in a period when timidity and sycophancy have become the hallmark of what goes on in public space. In a certain sense, someone suggested to me that what Mr. Jonah has done is similar to the late General Afrifa's famous letter to Acheampong. You know of that letter?
To be very frank, no.
Come again?
I haven't heard of it before. First time hearing.
You've never heard of it before?
No.
Are you serious, Sena?
Yes, I am. And I'm not
Really?
sure. I'm not sure if any of my other guys around here have heard about a letter from Afrifa to Acheampong.
Yeah.
First time hearing it.
Well, I think it arose in the course of all the agitation or Acheampong's maneuver for UniGov. Right? But it's not about UniGov. That brought him into conflict with many political actors, and as a struggle involving the student movement. So in the course of having his way, entrenching this particular brand of military rule, you had all these elements come out in contestation, including a movement led by Acheampong. And basically what he was telling Acheampong was that in this foolish drive to have your way, you are putting all of us at risk. Huh? I'm sure you've heard of this traditional parable about the tortoise, the hen, and the bird, and the hunter. I'm sure you heard about it. Yeah. When was it the hen or the tortoise that was advising the bird to stop it singing, lest it attract attention, hostile attention. And when it did, the hunter shot the bird, who dropped next to the tortoise. The farmer cut the hen and wrapped up both the bird and the tortoise. Finito. So, someone telling me that, look, Mr. Jonah could not have failed to be a beneficiary of the regime we have in power now. But because of the arrogance and criminal act, basically, He risks bringing the whole pack of, house of cards down. Not so. And endangering not just the principal actor, but even persons like himself. But I need not go, I need not run ahead in that direction. Let me come back to the question you're raising about President Kufuor's comment. I think I watched a bit of President Kufuor's comment that was previewed on this show by Bernard Adler, I think on City TV,
yeah.
whatever. Now, I'm wondering why he decided to go and speak to President Kufuor. But that is within his right. Now, one could see that President Kufuor was in an uncomfortable position. And he said so. He told Bernard that it is his party that is in power. Right? So that's a loyal member of the party. He cannot be seen to be criticizing his party. He seems to suggest that that statement is worthy of investigation. I think that's all I took away from that clip I saw. Where there are other things to it, I can't say. But like I said, to focus on that is to do injustice to what has been said. The culture of silence is just, for me, it just provides a means to the end that our president is seeking. Literally, what the Ghanaian people elected in 2016 was a despot. I've stated this point severally. I'm sure you know that. Yeah. And despots gather all power. That's what our president has sought to do. Now, that agenda was not completed in his first term. And seeing that his first term was a failure, he had to steal a second time, which is what he has succeeded in doing. And that singular act endangers not just the NPP, but a whole bevy of interests, including, quote-unquote, investor interests, like those of Jonah. Which will be the basis for him speaking out. And I don't think that Jonah was speaking for just himself. He was speaking for several other interests who are all endangered in this reckless drive. Explode. I hope you understand the point I'm making. Because when Kutu refused to heed the advice of Acheampong, when Kutu Acheampong refused to heed the advice of Afrifa, and he could not, what happened then was that Acheampong himself was removed to a palace school by those close to him, the military hierarchy, who saw his move to UniGov as something that threatened all of them. Not so. Now they attempt to maneuver themselves out of the way, led to May 5th? Huh? It led to May 9th, right?
The rolling
Was it May
school.
5th or May 9th?
May 15th uprising. May 15th.
May 15th, yeah.
May 15th, good. Now, in their folly, they opted for a public trial of the late departed Mr. General. In their folly, because they could have dealt with them flight lieutenant Rawlings primarily in a court martial in secret. Not so. But they decided to deal with it publicly. And it became a focus of agitation that ultimately brought down the Supreme Military Council. That finally led to the General Acheampong, Utuka, what is it? Afrifa, all being lined up and shot. Come again?
So ultimately, his caution proved right in the end.
Yeah. So I place the caution, the calls, the issues that Sir Jonah has raised in that context.
Okay.
That President Akufo-Addo's recklessness, this drive to impose his despotism on the Ghanaian people, that has seen us through the test of a second term. The slaughter of 8 persons to achieve that. That is a collation of presidential and parliamentary results, right? Because those things were carried out in direct furtherance of the agenda of stealing a second term. The invasion of parliament, the culture of silence, signified by the execution of Ahmed Wali, and the complete lack of interest of the Republic in finding the culprit. In a situation where there are literally loads of witnesses and evidence. This setup is on the brink of collapse and endangers all kinds of interests, including the interests that Jonah presents. We're talking of Jonah. The references say that he's the first Ghanaian, right? To have been knighted
By the Queen.
In the 21st century. But the Queen has no right to knight anybody in Ghana, because Ghana is not part of a kingdom or the sovereign territories over which he rules, right? The Queen can knight somebody from Australia, can knight somebody from Canada, because all of those, legally speaking, have her as the head of state. What will cause the British Crown to knight a Ghanaian in the 21st century? If not for services that have advanced the interests of the Crown